Joe Biden's acceptance speech was a stark contrast to the American carnage Donald Trump has peddled throughout his entire presidency, including his attempt to troll his opponent in Biden's Pennsylvania hometown yesterday.
If you want a vision of your life under Biden presidency, imagine the mayhem coming to your town and every single town in America.
I will draw on the best of us, not the worst. I will be an ally of the light, not the darkness.
They're coming to get you. Me, we're the wall between the American dream and total insanity.
We can choose a path of becoming angrier, or we can choose a different path and together take this chance to heal.
We're dealing with crazy people on the other side. They've gone totally stone cold crazy.
I will be an American president. That's the job of a president, to represent all of us, not just our base.
They're coming to get you. And late tonight, Biden struck another contrast with Trump on coronavirus.
Would you be prepared to shut this country down again?
I would be prepared to do whatever it takes to save lives, because we cannot get the country moving until we control the virus. That is the fundamental flaw of this administration's thinking to begin with.
So if the scientists say shut it down?
I would shut it down. I would listen to the scientists.
Wow, I'm joined now by former Senator Al Franken of Minnesota, host of the Al Franken podcast. And Senator, you know Joe Biden. Donald Trump has tried to portray the convention that we all just watched for 4 days as some dark and terrifying, scary horror show. And then he's out there saying they're coming to get you. These are crazy people. Did you see 4 days of scary, crazy people in the convention?
I think the crazy person may be somebody else. That was a beautiful convention. That was a great speech. The contrast, it's night and day, as he said. It's light versus darkness. This Joe Biden showed who he was, and this was a beautiful convention. You saw him with the conductor. You saw Braden Harrington, who was inspired by the kid who stuttered. It was so moving, and you saw who Joe Biden is. And when you talked about that, you saw that interview on the science. I mean, he knows that you have to go to the science and not your son-in-law, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
This was a beautiful convention, I thought.
And you're right. It was such a contrast. Just on the contrast front, I want to play you two back-to-backs. This is Joe Biden doing something that we haven't seen Donald Trump do, to speak directly to the grief of the 170,000 families who've lost someone to coronavirus. Here he is.
Look, I understand. I understand how hard it is to have any hope right now. On this summer night, let me take a moment to speak to those of you who have lost the most. First, your loved one may have left this earth, but they'll never leave your heart. They'll always be with you. You'll always hear them. And second, I found the best way through pain and loss and grief is to find purpose.
Okay, and now here's Donald Trump when being asked by NBC's Peter Alexander what he would say to the people who are grieving.
What do you say the Americans were scared, though? I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say. I think it's a very nasty question, and I think it's a very bad signal that you're putting out to the American people.
Do you anticipate the Republican Party and Donald Trump addressing the pandemic at all next week? And if so, what would you anticipate?
Well, first of all, how horrible is that? And if you're any kind of politician and someone asks you that, that's a law. That's a softball right over the plate to talk about your empathy for people, which he has none. These guys could not be more opposite. Yeah, he'll talk about how we saved millions of lives by closing the air travel from China, which actually didn't really do. But this is the biggest issue of the campaign, is how spectacularly this guy failed at dealing with this pandemic. And that has to do with not just the 170,000+ deaths, but it has to do with the destruction, the collapse of our economy. Both of those are on Donald Trump. And that is going to be the biggest issue in this campaign, and rightfully so. And what he laid out last night, Joe Biden, was exactly what we should have been doing from the beginning.